Okay, last we left off, it's been a while since we got new computers. It took me a while to get everything off of my old one. Anyhow, we're back to Killing Me Softly, and we're going to take a look at the drums again. Still, when we edited the toms, we decided that because they weren't hit that often, we would just manually edit out the bleed and give those drums their individual characteristics. Now, for the kick drum and the snare drum, if we listen just to the kick, there is a lot of snare. And I don't always do this, but we're going to do it because we need to learn the tools that are available to us and the best times to use them. We're going to gate these, the kick and the snare. And what a noise gate is a threshold-based processor that essentially says that any sound below the threshold will not be heard. It will be attenuated. And if a sound goes above that set threshold, then the channel will open up and you'll hear that instrument. So we are going to go to Dynamics, and the Dyne 3 expander gate is what we're going to use. The main parameters that we're going to focus on are these 5. Ratio being how much the signal is attenuated for every decibel over the threshold. But range is the amount of attenuation effectively of the floor. So do we want to make it silent? Do we want to hear a little bit of the bleed? That's a good question depending on the how organic or how natural you're able to get the drum tone. Attack how quickly the gate will open up to allow the signal through. Hold how long it will stay open. Release how quickly it will go back to closed or back to whatever you set your range to. And then threshold, of course, is the level at which the sound must go beyond in order to open up the channel. So just with these settings, I just changed the ratio is all. Okay, so we are starting to hear the kick drum, but if we bypass it, we're losing a lot of the qualities of the kick. So that is one of the problems with gates sometimes. So I think to start, I'm going to open up the hold. Which allows not only the transient, essentially we had the transient cut through and then we just shut it down so quickly. And what I like to do is hit bypass so I can kind of just focus in on the tone, the sound of the kick. We're still squashing it quite a bit. We're also still hearing quite a bit of the bleed. So I'm going to bring the range down. Threshold up. Let's open it up faster. All right, I think that's pretty good. Again, to compare. When you listen to the actual sound of the drum, it's pretty close. The bleed is more or less gone. I do like to leave the range not entirely to 0. I feel it sounds a bit more natural. And what I'm going to do to get to the snare drum is Option click and drag. I'm going to click on this one to make sure this is the active one. Solo the snare. Okay, so it's quite a bit still of bleed. You can always hear that extra hi-hat. Okay, so really had to open that up quickly. The snare drum was really hitting hard, the attack. Now, almost more important to me than the little bit of hi-hat that's sneaking in there is that the snare drum itself sounds about the same when I bypass it. What I don't want is to really choke it and to kill it entirety and take away its body. Now, one might say that sounds really unnatural, but then you throw in the overheads. And let's just take these off. Now, it does kind of concentrate the sense of the kick and the snare. It's not dramatic. It's not dramatic, but it does help to clean up. And if you think about, again, all the bleed that was on each of these tom mics, all the bleed in between the kick and snare mics. In fact, all right, that should work pretty well with the under snare. All right, so for this assignment, what I want you to do is solo the kick and the snare. Grab, 4 or 5 measures. I just want to hear the 2 gated tracks. Bounce that out, submit it.